is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you out a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What is good, to Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to continue the What to Expect series. This time we're going to talk about a popular team this year, John Wall and the Washington Wizards. Now, this is a team that I've been rooting for. I wanted to see them go to the Eastern Conference Finals. They talked a lot of trash. They went out there and backed it up sometimes. Sometimes they didn't, but we all do that. John Wall only played 41 games, which was sad because they really needed him, and they would have had a higher seed if he was able to stay healthy, which probably could have allowed them to get back to the second round. Instead, they get put out in the first round. But, knowing that they could just bring the team back next year and hope for something better this season, they make a trade to get rid of Marcin Gortat. And then they bring in Austin Rivers, a guy that can play the 2 or the 1. Great ball handler, a guy that's a threat as a spot-up shooter, off-the-ball shooter, a guy that you want in the fourth quarter because he can make all types of shots, whether it's a floater, pull-up jumper, three-point shot, get to the free throw line, finish around the basket. And he's a guy that can play with either Bradley Beal or John Wall, or even if they go small, he can play with all. They can all three play together. And John Wall is a guy that shot 37% from three. I'll tell you guys, don't go too crazy over that because he did shoot for a game, but he did not actually, play that long of a season. So we don't really know if he was really going to be a great three-point shooter this year because he didn't play that much. Bradley Beal had responsibilities to help this team still make the playoffs. He showed that he can be a better playmaker and ball handler, especially passing the ball. He had to do it because John Wall missed so much time that his assist number was already improving, but he really had to run the offense through him, something that he hasn't really done since his rookie year. But it adds another dynamic to the team now that you have another guy that you can trust to make plays in the fourth quarter, whether it's handling the ball, whether it's playing off the ball, or whether it's taking some pressure off John Wall. I mean, Bradley Beal is now an all-star. It's something that I thought and knew he will finally become because how great of a shooter he was and the athletic ability that he possessed. It was only a matter of time. And he was young coming out of the draft, too, so he had to develop his body. He had to learn the game, get his IQ, learn how people was playing him, learn how to counter him. And that's something that you want to do as you continue playing your career. When they drafted Bradley Beal, they wanted him to be an all-star. They wanted to draft him to be a shooter with John Wall. They wanted to get the best out of him, and that's what he wanted to do too. And now he has become more of a complete player. He's a solid defender, a guy that can create the plays, shoot the three, shoot this, come off screen, get out in transition. He can attack the rim and finish now. He can get to the free throw line, snipe that, and he can dunk. So he's not a superstar player, but once he continues to grow, he's entering in his prime finally after all these years he's been in Washington, and we've seen the significant improvement these last 2 seasons. He hasn't really been injured as much. That's one of his biggest things was that he was always injured, and John Wall still was able to help this team get to where they wanted to go. The saddest part about it is once he started going off, John Wall never really went back off after that because he was injured. So hopefully this year we can see both of them on the same page, and hopefully they stay healthy. And same with Dwight Howard, who I'm going to talk about now. This is a guy that everybody is kicking him because he's down. He's getting traded a lot. His name is getting slandered. He still put up decent numbers in Charlotte. They had a chance to make the playoffs, but they had major injuries to like Batum and stuff, and they just could never get it together, even when he came healthy. And after that, the season was basically over for them. John Wall is more of a pass-first point guard. He's a guy that really was a good combo with Marcin Gortat, but Marcin Gortat was just not elite. He was good enough to do the little things that matter, and that's all they really utilized him for in Washington was just to get the floaters, the one-hand push shot, to hit the elbow jumpers, to dunk the basketball. He just did the simple plays, and that's all they really needed him to do. Now, the only problem I have with that is if you're trying to win a championship, you need a better, higher level of talent. And they starting to realize that looking at this team, they went from not making the playoffs to making it to the playoffs to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals the last 2 years. They have already leaped over Washington. Washington was up there with Cleveland and Toronto and Indiana. Now they got leaped up by Toronto still, by Philly, and now by obviously the Boston Celtics and maybe even the Milwaukee Bucks and other teams like that. So now I see them going to the luxury tax. They didn't mind. They picked up Dwight Howard for cheap. He is an upgrade. Some people say he can't really do what Marcin Gortat do, but he's an elite rebounder. He is a solid still rim protector. He still can play in the pick and roll and do the simple things like catch the ball, dunk. He's better at attacking the rebounds and getting offensive rebounds. He just, to me, a more complete player. His offensive game ain't great, but Dwight Howard showed a lot of improvement last year around that. But, it's all about just knowing your role, and that's something that a lot of people had a problem with. Dwight Howard wanted to be better. But in his defense, if you're a guy that led a team to the fucking NBA Finals and you was one of the top 5 players, some people even on ESPN they criticized and crucified Dwight Howard the most, but they had him as one of the top 3 players in the league at one point, and then they had him in their top 5 and top 10 for a while. So it ain't going to be, you got traded to Houston, you got to fall in line. You got traded to LA, you go fall in line. This guy just carried a team to the finals and won a game in the finals and dominated against LeBron James. It's hard to say, oh, I'm going to be a role player. I'm just going to dive to the rim. Well, you just carried a team to the finals and was an MVP candidate, and you was a top 3, top 5, and top 10 player in the best center in the motherfucking NBA. It's hard to say, oh, I'm going to be a role player now that I play with Kobe. Oh, I'm going to be a role player now that I play with James Harden. Well, you're that good, and they're even giving him credit for that. It's hard to say, I'm just going to be a role player. And I think that was one of the silliest, dumbest things I ever heard the last couple years was about Dwight Howard. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to do that. When you're one of the elite players and one of the top players, even the top player at your position, it comes with an ego and it comes with, the territory. You're making all-star teams. You're making all NBA first teams. You're getting MVP votes. You're not going to go down to a role player just like that. Especially, since they traded for you. And remember, LA wanted Dwight Howard to stay. Kobe wanted Dwight Howard to stay. He had to been doing something right that they was recruiting him and wanted him to stay. But I feel like Dwight Howard still does bring things to the table. He might not get as many touches as he did in Charlotte, but I don't buy into all the Dwight drama and beef because teams keep picking him up. Teams keep letting him start. So he has to be doing something right that every team he goes to, he's starting. Every team he goes to, they want him, even if they don't want him at the end, but they still wanted him on the roster because they made a trade or tried to sign him, whether it's Houston or even Atlanta. They wanted Dwight Howard to be a part of their organization. Atlanta ended up rebuilding, so they did not need Dwight Howard. Charlotte, they don't know what they want to do. Do they want to rebuild? Do they want to build around Kemba? They didn't know what they wanted to do. They lost their coach, and they wanted to rebrand themselves, and Dwight Howard wasn't a part of that, and I feel like Dwight Howard was also one of the best tradable pieces that they had, and that's why they end up getting picks back in return. You're not going to get that many picks for Nicholas Batum on that contract. You're not going to get that many picks for Kemba Walker because he's only making $12 million. So you can't really trade anything for him besides a pick. And then you're not even going to get the pick you want for an all-star caliber player as Kemba Walker is. So a lot of the Dwight stuff, don't believe it, don't buy into it. These are the same people that said he was going to be a bust out of the draft, and these are the same people that put him in the top 3, top 5, top 10 players in the NBA for multiple seasons, and these are the same people that voted for him as an MVP in those last couple seasons, so you can't really buy into all that crap. Another thing I want to say is Kelly Oubre, this might be his last season. He's a guy that has been versatile for him, knocking down threes, making plays, playing the 3, playing the 4. I think he's going to be gone. They just can't afford to keep him, especially because he is a young prospect. Only way they keep him if he's willing to take a pay cut, and if he does that, he also not going to have a big role on the team because they actually, to me, stacked up this team. When you have Bill, when you have Wall, when you have Porter, when you have Morris and Dwight Howard, it's not really that many minutes for you, especially because Scott Brooks like to play his main players a lot of minutes. So at the end of the day, I like this Washington team. I feel like this is going to be the best team John Wall has ever played for. Sad part about that is at the end of the day, John Wall is going through those knee injuries. He had a couple the last 2 years, and that hurts him because he is a player that rely a lot on his athleticism. He is the best player on his team currently still. They do need him because he is one of the better defenders when healthy, and he's just a great shot creator. He can either put teams in just a big mismatch or just get them off balance, and then he just picks you apart. Just remember that Toronto series where they picked the Wizards to lose, and he just destroyed their defense, making the right pass, making the right play time and time again, and he still has that ability. He still does do that, and then you upgrade the talent on the bench and in the starting lineup. This is a team that I would personally build if I had John Wall as my star player. The thing about it is, can you win a championship with John Wall being your number one option? And that's the question that we will start to find the answer to the next 2 years as he goes higher into his max contract. They wanted him to be their franchise guy. They drafted him the number one overall pick. They got rid of Gilbert Arenas for this guy. They gave him the max amount as you can give him almost. And that's how much they love and believe in this guy. He's a hard worker. He's a nice guy. He puts his all into the games. He's a great person, and he's a great basketball player. And we do want to see it because we all are starting to become fans of John Wall. He has been an All NBA player before. He has been a defensive player before. All team defense. He has been an All-Star for multiple seasons, including this season. Even though he missed majority of the season, he still was able to get in right away. So that shows you how much people respect John Wall at this point. And at the end of the day, this team is one of those teams I can definitely see being in that top four with the Torontos, the Bostons, and Philly. Obviously, you have the Bucks and other teams that's going to make a run with that spot. But, I can definitely see this Washington Wizards team winning a lot more games than they won last year, which shouldn't really be a surprise considering that at the end of the day, they do have two All-Stars. They won 43 games last year with John Wall only playing 41 games, and that's very good, but you rather win more. And like I said, hopefully this season we finally get a healthy Bradley Beal, a healthy John Wall. Having Austin Rivers gives him a solid backup player that can run the offense and score the basketball and keep pressure on the defense with his attacking style. You add guys like Jan Mahimi, who's making too much money. That's the reason why they're going to lose Kelly Oubre, but he's still a solid player. You still got Otto Porter, a guy that can be a perfect fit alongside Bradley Beal and John Wall because he doesn't need the ball to be effective. He's an absolute sniper from the corner and at the top of the key. He gets out in transition. He defends multiple positions. He can rebound. He's starting to become a well-rounded offensive player. As they continue to get injured, they need somebody to pick up the slack, and Otto Porter has been one of those guys that can do it. He's one of them guys that once you watch the game, you really don't know, and then next thing you look around, he got 15, 16 points, and you don't even notice it because he's not a consistent threat for this Washington team because they use mostly Bradley Beal and John Wall, and I think Dwight Howard will be a perfect accommodation towards them because he gives them that pick and roll threat, that lob threat, and that guy that you have to guard unless he will eat you up. And then you have two snipers in the corner and Otto Porter and Bradley Beal that can really kill you from that three-point line. And then you have Morris who can do it decently, respectably, but he also can pump fake and knock down that mid-range jumper or just make the pass or just set it back out for John Wall to rerun the offense, who can always get to the paint, knock down threes, get in the pick and roll, hit the stop pop jumper, get out in fast break, and also get the steals and deflection that can initiate the break. So at the end of the day, this Washington team, this is one of the better teams they have ever had. Obviously, this is sad because this is one of the tougher times to be at the top of the East because these teams are becoming better. And John Wall and them, they only got a certain amount of time together. This is going to eventually have to come to an end because you're paying these players too much money to not even get to the Eastern Conference Finals, something that they haven't been able to accomplish. But this is, like I said, the most loaded roster they have had so far. And if they're healthy, this is going to be a tough team to go. And they got to, like last couple seasons, they didn't really beat the weak teams. I think that's something that they improve on. I definitely see this team winning about 48 to 52 wins, finishing in that top 4 or 5. Mostly, I don't see them doing better than Boston or Toronto, but I can see them getting around that Philly, Milwaukee area in that 4 or 5, 6 spot with his roster. You still got Thomas Satoransky. He's pretty solid too. A good fit around John Wall. You still got Jody Meeks, who has been in and out, but he can get hot some games, and you rather have him than not because at the end of the day, he can play. You got a solid you just have a solid roster, not too crazy, but I do expect big things from John Wall and Bradley Beal this season. And hopefully they can do it. Can they be better than Chicago? Can they be better than Indiana? Can they be better than Detroit? You still have bad teams like Orlando. You have bad teams like the Hawks. You have bad teams like the Hornets. And you also got teams like Milwaukee and Miami that in Detroit and Indiana that's going to be fighting for those middle spots, the 5, 6, 7, and obviously the 8th spot. And I just see Washington just being a little bit more better than them if they're healthy, which we don't really know. And if no significant trades made, and they stay healthy, they're going to be one of those top 4 seeds in the West, in the East. Worst case scenario 5. I do have them making it to the playoffs, and I do have them getting out of the first round, depending on if they get higher. If they're in the middle, I still see them getting out of the first round if healthy. In the second round, that becomes a problem because then you have to play the Torontos. Then you obviously got to play the Celtics and Philly. I do think they can compete with Philly. Talent-wise, on paper, they have enough to compete with Philly. I can actually see them possibly beating Philly, depending if they're still healthy, like I said before. And if they do that, they have a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that's all you really want. Once you get in the playoffs, anything can really happen, and I can see this team getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, depending on where they're seated at. But most likely, they get put out in the second round. Best case scenario, they go against Philly or Milwaukee, a team that, or Indiana, you never know. And then next thing you know, they can get to Eastern Conference Finals. So I do see that happening too. But I do have them losing in the second round, getting out of the first, winning 48 to 52 games. Wouldn't be surprised if they made it to 55 because this team can really light you up, and they got weapons at every position, especially in the starting lineup. There's going to be a tough team to cover, especially with John Wall running that offense and now having another ball handler in Bradley Beal, and finally got a guy that can attack and keep the pressure on the defense like Austin Rivers. So at the end of the day, I definitely want to see what's going to happen with this Washington Wizards team. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Also, check out my spread shirt. It'll be in the comment section description below if you want some merchandise. Let me know. And, well, you don't have to let me know. You can just order it and they'll just ship it out, so you only have to talk to me about that. And just like I said, like on Facebook, like the video, subscribe if you like the content. Check out my older videos, Quinn Wade, Basketball Analysis, I'm Gone. And let me know what you think about the Washington Wizards. Are they overrated, underrated? Is John Wall done? Can he come back and have a comeback season? Is Bradley Beal going to have that breakout season that he did 2 years ago? Well, I say this year too. Will Otto Porter become more than a 3-and-D guy and a corner 3 specialist? Will Dwight Howard be a cancer? Will he be the hero? Will he anchor this defense to be one of the best defensive teams in the NBA? Remember, Scott Brooks had a top defensive team with Kendrick Perkins and Serge Ibaka. Maybe he can put that together with his Wizards team. If Bradley Beal and John Wall and Dwight Howard buy in, and you already know Otto Porter brings to the table, maybe they could be one of the top 5, top 10 defensive teams and one of the top 10 offensive teams and will win 55 games, maybe 52. And that should be enough to help them get a good seed to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And they match up good against everybody. They have the versatility, they have the ball handler, they have the shooting, they have the scorer. So it's just all about staying healthy and putting it together. And we shall see. Let me know in the comment section below.